YouTube. Today I'm going to be showing you how to run a Virtualbox virtual machine. This is Virtualbox website, virtualbox.org. You can read about them. One of the first things you're going to do is go to download, and you're going to download, I'm using Windows 7, depending on the operating system that you're using. You're going to want to download the corresponding Virtualbox for that operating system. Again, this link will be in the description as well. And the operating system that we're going to be using today is Linux, and we're going to be using the Ubuntu version. The reason I'm using Linux is because I think Linux is a really decent operating system, and the main reason is it's free. Okay, so once you have these two downloaded, you're going to want to install Virtual Machine. And when you install Virtual Machine, it's going to ask you, the normal installation program, but it's also going to ask you for verification to install a few drivers. And you're going to want to say OK to these, because the drivers are mainly for the virtual machine to be able to access like their internet, USB ports, etc., etc. And this is what once you install it and open it up, this is the speed you're going to get to. And before we create our virtual machine, we're going to want to go to our downloads, Windows 7, and we're going to want to find our Ubuntu file here. And if I right-click mine, I can mount mine to my virtual clone drive, which is my G drive. I prefer to do that. You can make an actual disk of it. That is totally up to you. You can even put it on the flash drive, I believe. That is up to you. So with that mounted, we're going to go back to our Oracle VirtualBox. We're going to go create a new, and we're going to start making our new virtual machine, as you can see by the new virtual machine wizard. We're going to hit next. We're going to name it, and it's going to ask us for operating system type. And this is the operating system that we're going to be using in our virtual machine, not the operating system that we're running it on. So in this case, we're going to be using Linux, and we're using the Ubuntu version. And so we're going to select that and go ahead and hit next. Now, in the memory thing here, we can select how much system memory is going to go explicitly towards the virtual machine. You can go anywhere from 4 megabytes, well, 0 megabytes, all the way up to however much RAM you have in your computer. In this case, I'm going to do roughly a gig and a half, and we're going to hit next. And startup disk is like your virtual hard disk. I don't know why they call it startup disk, but we're going to make sure that's selected, and we're going to create a new hard disk. Make sure that's selected. Use an existing one if you already have one. Just you can create an existing hard disk, and you can choose a different file type. I'm going to stick with the VDI, and you can see if it's dynamically allocated, or you can do fixed size. I'm just going to stick with dynamically allocated. It's going to ask me about how much I want to put into that. It's set to 8 gigabytes, and we're going to go ahead and create, and that just creates our virtual hard drive. This screen right here is going to create our actual PC. Now if you look here, we have our Renegade's PC here. And you can see right under it that it's actually powered off. That's because we haven't turned it on yet. And this is your virtual PC. If you look over here on the right, you can see the preview, because you can actually pause and say the state of your virtual drive pretty much wherever you're at, which is kind of cool. And it gives you some other information about your virtual PC. So to install Linux, we're going to go to Renegade's PC, and we're going to hit the start button. And it's going to turn it on. It's going to ask you about your keyboard and mouse. You can hit OK. And it's going to welcome to the first run wizard. And you're going to hit next. And then it's going to ask you for your installation media. In this case, I've selected mine to G drive. That's where my virtual drive is. And it is up totally to where you put the source information. You can even click this and look for the ISO file. We're going to hit next, and it's going to, make sure that's what we want. We're going to hit start. And it's going to start from the disk. And it might take a second here. Just to tell you what some icons are and select and checks. And we're starting to load into Ubuntu, and I'm using 11.10. Now notice until Ubuntu really loads, because it's like any BIOS setting, you really don't have a mouse. You see that if I move my mouse out of the virtual machine, I can move around and do stuff on my background operating system. But if I move my mouse into it, into the actual virtual machine BIOS setup screen, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't seem to work yet. And that's okay. It will change once we get a little more further in the installation. If you down here in the bottom, which is kind of cool, this first icon right here looks like a bunch of CDs in a stack. Basically, your hard drive is, indicates the activity of virtual hard disks. So you see a little green light blinking, that means that the program is accessing the virtual hard drive and back and forth. The one next to it is just for your CD drives, so on and so forth. The green light means it's reading. The next one is the activity of USB devices, and we have different network interfaces. And this one right here, I believe, is different features used by a virtual machine. This one is your mouse, and this one is for the keyboard. There we go. Let's see. Another thing, if you open machines, you can pause. You can really pause it like right now. And when you start your virtual machine back up, it will open exactly the same spot that you left off. It can be useful. You can reset it. You get different screen sizes. You got different devices you can mess with, different drivers, and then this should help. And this is the default background for Ubuntu, in case anybody is not really know Linux that well. And we're going to make sure we select your language. Language is obviously English. We're going to install Ubuntu. That's this part of the thing. And then Ubuntu right here. Now, this is really different from running Ubuntu on the computer, in the fact that it's running off a virtual hard drive and virtual hardware. It's not really, it's using part of your hardware, but it's all virtual. The good thing about this is if you have a really good computer, you can run two operating systems at once. This operating system can be doing whatever you want Linux to do at the very time. Maybe doing something else in Windows. Click out here and do what you're going to do. Then you get back into Ubuntu. And once it all loads up, there we are. That is your Ubuntu. I'm going to make another video about working with Ubuntu, just a little bit in the basics, but other than that, that is doing a virtual PC with Ubuntu. Thank you very much.